Am I the a-hole for not wanting to house my pregnant sister anymore? I am absolutely furious about this right now. My sister is 19, and she's 4 months pregnant. Father bailed and kicked her out of his place as soon as she told him, and my parents live on the other side of the country. She goes to school here in our state, so she doesn't want to move back to our tiny little town. Since she didn't have a place to stay, my wife and I offered to let her live with us until after the baby got here. It wasn't ideal, but we have the room and the money to let it happen. First thing I told my sister when she came here, whatever you need, tell me and I'll help you. First thing I told her because I didn't want her worrying about things for the baby or food. We still have all our baby furniture, /toys, /clothes from when our son was born in our garage and in good condition. It's barely been over 2 months, and on the first week, my wife was complaining because she couldn't find her earrings. Didn't think anything of it. Stuff like that is easy to lose sometimes. But then, it started to add up. First, her earrings, then one of my watches, a necklace, a pair of new shoes that we bought for our son, some of my wife's jewelry, my class ring. All this stuff was going missing, and it didn't click for me until I noted a few missing $20 bills from my wallet. At first, I thought maybe it was my son, but honestly, the kid's 7 and still too honest. He cried once after he took an extra donut from the table and confessed immediately, so I doubted he was the culprit. I confronted my sister, and it took a lot of grilling before she fessed up. Her defense was, she just wanted to make a little extra cash on the side for the baby. I was so furious with her. After telling her to come to me for anything she needs with the baby, she resorted to going behind my back and stealing from my family? I explained just how wrong she was to do this after she's had a roof over her head, food, and being told to come to us with whatever she needs help with. She apologized many times, but I told her she was going to have to pack her bags and leave. I'll give her 2 weeks to find a new place, but she better be gone by then. That just upset my sister more. She begged me to give her a second chance, but feel like the trust has been broken. She wanted to stay here to continue school. She'll have to find a way to support herself. If she can't, then she can move back with our parents. Speaking of parents, they've been on top of me for the last few days over this, that I can't just kick her out when she has a child on the way. I've explained what she was doing. However, they still think I'm wrong here and need to give her another chance. The issue is, how will we know that she won't be more sneaky about it? It's just not a risk I'm willing to take, and my wife is just as upset about this as I am. That hasn't stopped my parents from berating me all the time over our choice, and now I'm not sure I'm being the a-hole instead of giving her another chance. Now for the top comments. Definitely not the a-hole. She stole multiple times from you and your wife. That means she has already had a second chance and a third chance, etc. to redeem herself. I would not want a thief in my house. She can go live with your parents and steal from them if they feel so strongly about it. I'm so sick of people asking for second chances after they've already wasted more than 2 chances. One of my favorite lines I've discovered on Reddit is, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." And I feel it fits well here. Yep, she played the "how much can I steal before they notice" game and won a swift kick in the pants out of there. Seems fair to me. I mean, it sucks she's pregnant, but that should have been her concern when she chose to steal, not Opie's concern when he needs to protect his wife and child. Not an a-hole. She's lucky you haven't reported her to the police. Her parents are also a-holes by trying to guilt you into continuing to house her. I assume this is because they don't want to take responsibility for her themselves. They do. It's my sister that doesn't want to move all the way back over there because she's still going to school here. Not an a-hole. I have a feeling being pregnant isn't the only reason the boyfriend kicked her out. It may very well have simply been the last straw. I wonder what her story will be of how she came to leave your home. The thefts are only what you have discovered so far. What else is missing that you haven't discovered yet? Things in storage? That kitchen gadget you never use? Art? You need to lock your credit down. If she had access to your files, social security number, DL, BC, and such, I would not be surprised that she has opened credit cards in yours, or your wife's, or your son's name. Do you have any accounts in your son's name? Savings bonds? Education fund, check them. Are they intact? And since your parents are so determined that a thief to be housed on someone else's dime, buy her a one-way ticket to their place and ship her belongings. It will be cheaper in the long run. Lock down anything of value. You've now given her 14 days to ransack your place. Any way at all for you to get any of your things back? Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend to grow up? Me, 23 male, and my girlfriend, 27 female, have been together for about 5 years, and 3 years into the relationship, we had a child. For context, he wasn't a planned child by any means, as we had taken birth control measures. Early on, I wore protection, and then she started taking birth control. Neither of us know how the child happened, but we accepted that it happened and moved on. I finished up the last little bit of college I had and found a job before the baby arrived. She stopped working as my income was now enough, and now stays home with the baby, as we discussed that was what would be best. In the following year, since the birth of my son, my girlfriend has grown increasingly more intolerant. At first, she was elated, wanted to show him off and was happy to deal with everything. Then it grew to her being annoyed by small things. She wanted me to change every diaper. We split them once I'm home and during off days, and was annoyed by everything our son did. Flash forward to now, and contrary to the saying terrible twos, he tends to be very well behaved. He doesn't cry that much, he adapted to potty training quickly and well, and he doesn't really fuzz. My girlfriend has been going out a lot. I don't have a problem with it because everyone needs time to have fun and relax. This night was a night she went out. A few nights ago, my son came to my side of the bed. He woke me up and told me that he peed in his sleep. I told him it was okay. I woke up my girlfriend and told her and asked her to clean him up quickly while I went and cleaned it. She took a minute to wake up, so I went ahead and left to go clean it up. In the middle of it, I heard her screaming at our son. I go in there and ask her why she's screaming at him, and she responds that it's because he peed the bed. I told her his too, and that accidents happen. This shouldn't be a moment to scold him and scream. She said that since I could be better, I should do it. So I helped him get cleaned up, and then cleaned up in his room, and by that time he fell asleep on the couch. I covered him up and went back to my room. When I got back is when the argument started. I told her that I shouldn't have to handle that alone because she can't control her anger. She told me that since I was such a good parent, I should quit my job and stay at home, and she should go work since she's so horrible. She went on with this for about 5 minutes, before telling me she regrets having our son. A little shocked, I told her she didn't have a way of finding a job capable of supporting us, and that she proposed the idea of her staying home when he was born. I told her she needed to grow up, because the way she was acting will be something he remembers. Ever since, we've barely spoke, and now I'm wondering if I took it too far. I think rather than posting on Reddit about this one argument, you need to see the bigger picture. Your girlfriend is struggling, and clearly not coping well as a stay-at-home mom. You too need to figure this out. Perhaps she needs some therapy to work through her anger towards her son. Could well be postpartum depression. Perhaps you two need to find a way for her to return to work. This is much bigger than one late-night argument, and it needs resolving ASAP. All of this, I immediately thought of PPD. This woman is struggling and needs help ASAP. Not just her, the kid needs help too. If this is what she does when dad around, imagine how she's acting when home alone with him. Not the a-hole, but I think there may be different things involved. Your girlfriend may be regretting the lost years of being pregnant, plus having a child. Perhaps she wants to pursue a career. Can you afford to send your kid to a daycare center if she looks for a job? Maybe she's looking to find her identity and not just as a mother. It may be a bunch of things. I'd suggest talking about it, about what you both want, what you're both able to do given the circumstances, and what things you both need to negotiate / give up because you both decided to have a child. And I know it's a mood comment, but congrats on being pretty grounded and growing up so quickly. Not every guy I know would have reacted like you did. Even a part-time job and Mother's Day out. She needs a break and counseling stat. Even if she'd agree to family counseling, that would be a huge improvement. She's drowning. Please give her a lifeline. PPD can appear up to 2 years after the birth of a child. I don't think this is a Nahal question. I think that your girlfriend needs a doctor. She's literally saying the trademark PPD spiel right now, especially if she was excited to be a mother before now. I think you need to prioritize getting her to a doctor. Treat this seriously, and it's an urgent condition that needs attention right away. Take a sick leave from work if you have to, and consider finding alternate care for your son until you can get her into her GP. We explored postpartum depression when she began getting annoyed at small things. Doctor said the past 1 year, it's extremely rare for it to be postpartum, and she didn't believe it was postpartum additionally, because the only real symptom she showed was getting annoyed at our son. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for saying that being a mother will not be my identity? A little background. I'm 25 female, 7 months pregnant with me and my boyfriend's first child. My boyfriend, 28 male, and I got pregnant pretty quick after getting together, 2 months, so everything for us moved really quickly. My problem lies with our living situation. I grew up in a city, as did he. We moved a little outside of it when I found out I was pregnant, so we could save a little better and prepare. We went to visit our friends one day, 2 hours outside of the city, and wouldn't you know it, his car broke down. So we ended up staying with the said friends, and ultimately moving in with them as I would provide childcare for friend's kid in turn for rent. I was under the impression we would be moving back, because that's what I was told from the start. Today, I'm back in the city and living with my mom because the pressure of constantly needing to socialize with roommates got too much for me. There are other issues there. Friends always fighting with her husband. Friend is always blaming my boyfriend for everything that goes wrong. Just a toxic environment I didn't want to be a part of. Boyfriend started talking about apartments up there, but I said I didn't want to stay living there. He said he didn't want to move back to the city. I said there aren't many opportunities for me job-wise up there, and he told me it's okay. He can provide for our family and I can be a stay-at-home mom. This kind of took me by surprise. I told him I can't not work. I'd go insane. I told him I wanted a career and I wanted our son to grow up with every opportunity, including the diversity of the city. He said it's okay, I just need to focus on being a mom. I told him being a mom isn't going to be my identity, and I still have my own life outside of the family, as does he. He got so mad. He ignored me for 2 weeks without returning my texts or phone calls. I haven't seen him for a month now. And is acting like I'm a terrible person for even considering that. Am I the a-hole here? I feel like it shouldn't be my job to be the only parent. But he's my first kid, so I'm not sure if I'm overreacting or being a bad mom. This whole situation has made me feel like I shouldn't have gone along with the pregnancy, because my feelings and desires became bottom of the list. Now for the top comments. Red flags galore, girl. He is expecting your identity to disappear within your family, and not returning your calls or texts for 2 weeks. At this point, you'd be better off a single parent in the city. Not the a-hole. Agreed, not the a-hole. If he ignores you for 2 weeks, that should be enough of a sign. Had my last ex ignored me for 3. Thankfully, he replied when I told her I wanted my stuff back. I got it and blocked her on everything. Also, it's not just ignoring his girlfriend for 2 weeks. It's ignoring his 7 months pregnant girlfriend for 2 weeks. That's just ridiculous. What if she had issues, or appointment changes, or, well, anything? I think you know you're not the a-hole. I think you also know that this relationship is not going well. Ignoring your very pregnant girlfriend for 2 weeks is a red flag, as is insisting on you being a stay-at-home mom. How long can you stay with your mom? Because honestly, I think you need to prepare for the possibility that you are doing the single. Work on looking for a job and finding a place for you and the baby to live in the city. Hopefully, he comes around and can, at the very least, co-parent like an adult. Also, the decision-making of having your car break down somewhere so then you just live there? I know it's not the biggest issue here, but isn't that a little odd? Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for calling my wife irresponsible? My wife, 25 female, and I, 26 male, have a baby girl that just turned 2, who we'll call Zoe. My wife loves cosmetics. She'll practice a lot and says she's even thinking about starting a makeup artist business. However, she lately has been wanting to practice makeup on Zoe, which I was cautious about but didn't mind as long as it wasn't a full face, nor could she do it every day. She agreed to that. The next day, I heard Z whimpering in her room, so I decided to check on her, and I saw that her skin was terrible. She had a really bad rash and blistering in her face. Her left eye was swollen. Her skin was very irritated, and she kept scratching, making it more irritated. I quickly got us both dressed and rushed to the doctor's office, and it ended up being contact dermatitis. 1 hour after the appointment, my wife came home excited, saying she can't wait to do another makeover on Zoe, and that she bought new products for her to try. I confronted her and demanded that she tells me what did she put on Zoe's face. She admits to me that it was a full face of makeup while I was at work, and that they even went out to the park so others can see her talent. I called her crazy and irresponsible because now our daughter has contact dermatitis, and that she broke our agreement. She got upset with me, calling her irresponsible, and lashed out at me, saying she was only trying to make her look pretty, and that she wanted Zoe to have a passion for makeup like she does, since she doesn't even pay attention to it. So now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole for calling my wife irresponsible? Not the a-hole. Your daughter is not a doll. Calling your wife irresponsible is an insult to responsible people. Jesus Christ. I have 3 kids who love makeup, /dress up, /nail stuff. The most I usually put on them, youngest is 4, is some blush, eyeshadow and lipstick, not even once a month. A couple times I've let the almost 8-year-old use mascara because she felt left out not getting shadow /blush because of her sensitive skin. We are very careful taking it off to avoid her eyes. A full face of makeup on a 2-year-old? What the hell is wrong with her? My mom let me play with it infrequently at best, until I was old enough to understand what I wanted. This is a whole other nightmare. Not the hole. I'm a makeup artist, and I was taught to never, ever put makeup on children, especially babies. For that reason specifically, and because baby skin is still so new and sensitive, and you're damaging it by putting unnecessary products on it that were never meant for babies or even toddlers. Your baby cannot say no, and your baby cannot fight back against your wife. And your wife is treating your baby like a mannequin that should be decorated and showed off. This is not okay, and it needs to stop. I'd also like to add that it's incredibly messed up that her reason was to make her look pretty. Like there's just so much wrong. Not the whole. A 2-year-old should not be dealing with makeup like that at all. Why does a toddler have to look pretty? They're toddlers. Your wife is hurting your kid and is also imparting bad lessons onto her. This has to stop before she causes serious damage, physical and mental. She needs a wake-up call, fast. If she wants to be an artist on your kid's face, have her learn how to face paint. With the correct products. Toddlers love sparkles and rainbows anyway. But otherwise, she can get a model head and practice on that. Edited to add. Also, your daughter doesn't like the way it feels, and it's hurting. So, your wife is pretty much guaranteeing that her child will hate makeup of all kinds if she keeps this up. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister her rainbow baby isn't special? I, 27 female, have a set of twins, Ben and Betty. They just turned 6. My sister, 32 female, has Connor, who is 4. My sister and her husband lost their first baby due to SIDS. It was devastating for the whole family, and I was behind my sister 100% of the way. I couldn't imagine what it was like. Anyway, when she found out she was pregnant with Connor, we were all excited. The pregnancy went well and Connor got a good bill of health. Everything was fine. I love my sister and I love my nephew, but my sister is convinced that because he's her rainbow baby, that means he can do whatever he wants. Connor is incredibly spoiled and a brat. He throws fits to get his way, Hits, kicks, cries, whatever it takes. My sister and her husband give him no discipline. He's their rainbow baby, so that is their excuse for his bad behavior. Their lives are to serve whatever Connor wants. Every year, my family takes a vacation. Me, my husband, kids, sister, and her husband, and our parents. We all decided on Yellowstone. Last minute, my sister tried to get us to change to Disney World, and we refused because we felt our kids were still too young for it. They ended coming to Yellowstone, but complained the whole time that Connor wasn't having fun. That is just a brief example. So now on to the reason for the post. My twins just turned 6, and we had a small party for them. We invited friends from their daycare and some family. Everyone was having a good time but Connor. He wanted cake, didn't like the games, wanted to watch TV, wanted ice cream now, didn't want other kids to touch him, etc. Basically, the whole party Connor threw a tantrum. The final straw came at present time. My husband went to get the gifts out the living room only to find Connor had ripped nearly all of them open. My sister made excuses, saying he just excited and wanted to play with my kids' new toys. I lost it. I told her that Connor isn't special, that he's a brat and has been ruining the party since he got there. My sister immediately went on the his/her rainbow baby. I didn't mean it, and maybe I should have put the presents where he couldn't get them. They were in the living room. The party was outside. No one was inside. I lost my temper. I know I did. But this was my kid's party though. I said some nasty things to her. Told her that Connor isn't a baby anymore. He's not special. And she's raising a self-centered brat who will grow up to be a self-centered adult. She left the party. Later, my parents called. They said they understood my frustrations and everything about the situation, then said they still felt like I should apologize to my sister. Why? Because I have 2 healthy kids. Well, she lost one, and she's still having to deal with it. I told them no. My sister should apologize for how her son acted at the party. My husband and the guests who were at the party are on my side. My sister hasn't really spoken to me in a few days. Just posted passive-aggressive things on social media, which I just blocked her. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. Just to clear up some things in the comments. A lot of people have suggested my sister should have went to therapy, and she did. My sister and I got pregnant around the same time, so we were excited to raise our kids together. However, her child died a few weeks after being born while I had twins. We did attend therapy together because I felt guilt for having 2 kids while her one kid died. I have been nothing but 100% supportive of her. My family and I have tried talking to her and husband in the past about Connor's behavior, because this didn't happen overnight. This has been happening since he could walk. They ignore us and throw their dead baby in our face when we bring up something about Connor. The party just brought everything to a head for me and I lost my temper. I accept that. We have decided that we aren't going to talk to my sister or husband till things cool down some more and she's willing to listen to what we have to say. None of us are downplaying the fact she lost a child. I know Connor is special to her, but the rest of the world isn't going to see it that way. Thanks to those who ask if my kids are okay. They are okay, and the party went on after my sister left. My kids got to open some gifts that Connor didn't get to. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole at all. Is he still going to be the rainbow baby in high school? I'm sure when he commits his first crime, the judge will be very understanding that the rainbow baby needs cuddles and not confinement. Can you imagine him trying to use the excuse, "but I am a rainbow baby," for everything in school? He can't be charged with a DUI. He's a rainbow baby. He can't be expelled for fighting. He's a rainbow baby. He can't get divorced. He's a rainbow baby. He had to get into this college. He's a rainbow baby. Laughing my butt off. What if he finds another rainbow baby? What are the rules there? Not a-hole. Connor knows what he's doing. He knows his mom and dad let him get away with anything because he's special. And I would bet every day they tell him that he is special. There is nothing wrong with loving your child, but clearly your sister and husband could use some family therapy to deal with the loss of their first child. They haven't gotten over it. Connor is basically the replacement for their dead baby, and that is going to mess him up in life. You admitted you lost your temper and said some nasty things. In this case, you had every right to do so. Your sister was letting Connor dictate the party. Who opens someone's presents? She likely took him inside, let him open them, and thought you wouldn't say anything. You're not a-hole. Connor knows what he's doing. Hate to single this part out because I agree with the rest of the post, but the kid is 4. He will know what he's doing if this parenting continues, but no, he does not know what he's doing. A 4-year-old with no discipline or boundaries or consequences is more or less an untrained puppy. At 4, you still don't even have an understanding that other people exist outside of your world. Look up theory of mind, which you don't really get until around 5. Generally, your post is still valid, but it kind of places too much blame on a 4-year-old who is the, albeit horrible, byproduct of an awful parenting. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling this mom the truth about why her son wasn't invited to a sleepover party? My son just turned 10, and for his birthday wanted to do a superhero slumber party. We did something similar the last 2 years, not for his 9th birthday for obvious reasons, and they all had a blast. The party started around 3. We did pizza, movies, popcorn, and designed superhero masks. My son was friends with a boy named James from his class. Came to the last 2 sleepover parties, and while well behaved, it was his parents who I felt were the problem. When we send out the invites, we tell the parents when the party is and what time to pick the kids up the next day. For the last 2 parties, James was always the last one to be picked up. For his 8th birthday, we specifically stated that all kiddos should be picked up by 11 a.m. We had plans to go out to my in-laws for his birthday party, which was on his actual birthday. We had 5 boys, including our son, at the party, and 3 of them were picked up by 11 a.m. At 11:30, I texted James's mom and asked if she was coming to get him. She said she was on her way. I assumed she ran an errand and was just running behind. No big deal. By 12:30, she hadn't shown up. I texted her again and I reminded her that we had somewhere to be and she needed to get here as soon as possible. She responded that she was eating lunch and would be there soon. By 2 p.m., I texted her again and let her know that she needs to pick up her son ASAP, that we were getting ready to leave in an hour, and her son was not invited to come with us. I had assumed that would prompt her to come get him. By 4 p.m., my husband left with our kids to my in-laws, and I called James's mother. I left her a voicemail and told her that if she was not at my house in 30 minutes to pick up her son, I was calling the police to inform them that he was an abandoned child. She showed up within 15 minutes to get him. She made a half-baked apology about how she was busy with errands and running her other children to their activities. Today, I received a text message from her about why James was not invited to the sleepover party. Apparently, one of the other moms was talking about how much fun the kids had at the party, and she wanted to know why her son was not invited. So I told her the truth, that her son was not invited because I was not sure if she could come get him in a timely manner and without disrupting our plans for the rest of the day. I explained that anytime her son is at my house, she's always late to pick him up and I was tired of catering to her schedule. She called me an uppity witch and has since blocked me on social media and her phone. Am I the a-hole for telling her why her son was not invited? Post edit. Because this has been asked a lot, we do not suspect any kind of mistreatment in the home. I am a nurse, so I would be obligated to report this if I expected that this was happening. James's mom has 4 children. Her other son is in scouts with my son. They are always the last to be dropped off / picked up because of her other kids' activities. Her husband does drop off and pick up the kids, and he is on time. Our parties and scout meetings just happen to fall on days and times when he is not available. We are not the only parents who have discussed this with her. Multiple parents from the group have said that the same issue with her not coming to pick him or her other kids up on time. She's just a chronically late person, and I am not really sure what to do to help out with this. Not Dayhole. This mom sucks, to put it mildly, and I feel sorry for her kid. She was using you for free daycare and doesn't care enough about her kid. It's weird how she was able to pick up her kid in 15 minutes once the threats got real. Exactly. And she doesn't even care enough about her son's involvement in the next party to just give a decent apology and ask for another chance. She jumps straight to insults and blocking. Not Dayhole. You gave her the honest reason based on experience. Instead of saying, "You're right, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to have my child punished for my behavior, so could you please give him / me another chance?" And she responded with profanity and blocked you. That's a good way to ensure the poor kid will never be invited again. And no doubt other parents feel the same way. Not Dayhole. It sucks that her kid has to pay the price, but picking up your kid 5 hours after the agreed upon time is BS. She was 100% using you as a babysitter and was enjoying her day minus James. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's blaming her daughter too much for her ex's actions? My sister has a daughter, 15, with her ex-husband. When she was pregnant with him, her ex turned out to be a not very kind person. All the kindness and understanding we had seen before was gone, and by the time my niece was born, she was done. They had reached the point of no return. When my niece was 4, she met her husband. Her ex was pissed, forbade my sister from having her husband around my niece, even took her to court to say he wasn't allowed to interact with his daughter. The court laughed it off, of course, but her ex was very quick to be loud about how my brother-in-law was nothing to my niece, and how he would never be anything to her. My sister brought it to court, but nothing happened, and they went about life as normal, sharing equal custody of my niece and living life. She has 3 more kids with brother-in-law, ages 9, 7, and 4. My niece is very quick to correct anyone who calls them her siblings, and adds in the half or says they're not her real siblings. My sister has corrected her, has punished her, and has told her that half is not a term they use. They're siblings and that's it. My niece does not agree, and in the 9 years of having a younger sibling, she's never said just sibling. She has almost no relationship with her younger siblings. And my sister is pissed. Like, she has told us she is ashamed of niece and is disgusted with her. She has told her she is ashamed and disgusted, and will come back to us even more angry because that doesn't change how my niece feels or acts. She told me and our brother the other day that she's disgusted by her daughter, and she can't stand who she is, and she's thinking of locking her up all summer to get through to her. I told her she's blaming my niece too much when she knows it's coming from her ex. That she should try to understand better that my niece is caught between what she says and what her dad says. And while we all think is an a-hole, she thinks the world of her dad, and she would defend him with her dying breath and is going to be caught up in what she said. I said it doesn't matter her being mean, right? But that anger needs to go toward her ex for this, and not the kid who is stuck in the middle. My brother backed me up and said that at the end of the day, niece didn't ask for any of this, and is still growing and learning. My sister was pissed though. She said, how dare I say she's being too hard when she can't just think of niece, and how dare I think she's not mad at her ex. She tore both of us down for it and told us we were unsupportive, judgmental a-holes. And she's still mad with a capital M. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You said it perfectly. All sister is going to succeed in doing is alienating her daughter. At the age of 15, she can decide she wants to live with her dad, and most judges will side with her, especially if she explains that mom is punishing her for calling mom and stepdad's kids her half-siblings, and that she plans to lock her up for the summer until she sees it mom's way. I feel so sorry for the daughter. I've had friends who've been stuck in custody battles, and it's a pain. Hope you're not the a-hole. Honestly, that entire sister's family seems like a crap hole for the daughter. Sister's going to lose her kid if she doesn't immediately turn her mindset around and support her. With kids, the carrot works better than the stick. Who knows, maybe being nicer about it and having her feel comfortable in that home will eventually make the daughter call her half-siblings siblings. If she doesn't, who cares? Positive reinforcement is the way to go here. It repairs the relationship and has a chance to make her do what sister wants. However, never use this positive reinforcement to try and push daughter to do what sister wants. If she doesn't want to, no point in trying to make her change her mind. Not the a-hole. At all. What you said is right. And someday, niece may come to understand she has been under the influence of her dad. But your sister can't force her to acknowledge her siblings. Yep, and what her mom is currently doing / planning to do will make sure she'll have essentially no good parent figures in her life. I am sad for the girl. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my son's parents from my house and refusing to let them see him? My ex from high school got pregnant and had my son. Biologically he's not mine, but I always considered him my own. I was already at another college, 18 years old at the time, hours away, so she didn't tell me about him until he was almost 7 months old. We got back together and I raised him as my own. Was I stupid for not thinking about a paternity test? Maybe, but I still consider that one of the greatest blessings in disguise despite all the hurt. So fast forward 80 years later, I find out my ex has been cheating on me and broke up with her. She tells me my son's not mine, and it's been this other guy. We had a paternity test that proved it was true, and it crushed me. I was refusing to get back together with her or let her move back into my apartment, so she kept my son away from me. I didn't have that kind of money to fight it in court, and she started bringing the other guy around to see my son. They got him on the birth certificate, and it was just a whole mess. They got married a year later and moved away. My family convinced me to let it go and accept that my son has his new family, so stop putting myself through this heartache. Eventually I did, and I always hoped I'd see him again, and thank God I did. More like he looked for me. My son is barely 19, and we've reconnected again. My son at first admitted he's been mad at me, because he thinks my ex and I broke up, then I decided to stay out of his life. He knows who his biological father is. They're still married. But he was told that we decided to go our separate ways. As in, I made that choice. I told him the entire truth, and that's caused him to move out of their place. For the last couple months, he's been staying here because his other family is just pushing him to talk to his parents, and he wants space away from all that. Where might be the a-hole? They found out he's staying with me and have come to my place. The last time they came, I shut the door on them and told them to get out because he doesn't want to see them. I'll admit I'm angry for what they did to me too, but also for the lies they told him. Her family, plus them, believe in being an a-hole for kicking them out of my home when they are only trying to see their son, and also for not helping to mend things as it's in his best interest. I've been mostly reacting out of emotion and my son's wishes, especially when I kicked them out, so that's why I'm not sure if I was an a-hole here or not. Not an a-hole. She took your son away from you. Yes, it's your son. You raised him and you loved him. You were a true parent, and I'm glad you were connected. They don't get to come to your house and ask for anything. Your son isn't comfortable being around them, so be it. Their adult child asks for space and time. They are willing to give him neither. Hope he's not a-hole for sure. Well, they didn't do what was best for an almost 9-year-old. Why would they suddenly do what's best for him now? How are you the a-hole for kicking adults out of your house when they were trying to see another adult? You're not withholding a child from his parents. Not the a-hole. I guess because they're trying to make things right with him, and maybe not thinking in his best interest the way I should be. That's why I just wanted to check in with others. He's old enough to know what he wants, and he can reach out to them at any time. Keep them away from him. That's why he left.